All right, today we're diving into a really powerful story about what happens when the very systems designed to protect you actually become your aggressor. This is a fight for a home, for health, and really for justice itself. Just let that sink in for a moment. This quote, it really gets to the raw, brutal reality at the heart of our explainer today. We're going to follow the story of Joseph Janes, a British Army veteran, and see how a legal battle over a home just spiraled into a fight for survival. So, where does this all start? Well, it begins with Joseph Janes, a veteran who, after serving their country, was living with diagnosed PTSD, just trying to build a stable life. But then, one single event changed absolutely everything. Get this, Joseph was the actual victim of an assault, but instead of getting help, they were the one arrested. And that one single shocking moment, well, it was like the first domino to fall in what became a devastating chain reaction. So, what came after that wrongful arrest? You'd think maybe support or at least a fair investigation, right? Nope. What followed was a rapid and what really seems like a coordinated campaign to get Joseph out of their home. And what's just incredible here is the speed. Just look at this timeline. In only a few months, this went from a single arrest to a full-blown legal action. And it all leads up to a court hearing for which Joseph was given less than 24 hours notice. 24 hours. So, we need to be really clear about what a closure order is. This is not your typical eviction notice, not by a long shot. It's an incredibly severe measure. So the housing association and the police, they had to prove this was a serious case. But how they built that case? Well, that's where this story takes a really dark turn. Okay, so this is where it gets really shady. On the surface, the official story was all about neighbor complaints. But behind the scenes, something very different was happening. An internal note actually revealed the outcome was already decided. The goal was to support the closure order before the evidence was even pulled together. This points to a coordinated effort, not some impartial investigation. I mean, can you even call this a fair hearing? Just look at this list. A key witness for the defense was detained right before she could testify. CCTV footage that could have proven Joseph's innocence, never shown. The whole case was built on anonymous complaints, and Joseph's vulnerabilities as a veteran with PTSD were just ignored. It's like the whole game was rigged from the start. So, when you're up against something this massive, how on earth do you fight back? How can one person find the truth? Well, there's a powerful tool that Joseph used, and it's a tool that you can use too. Think about it. When it feels like these big decisions are being made about your life behind closed doors, how do you get into that room? The answer is in a legal right that is, honestly, way underused. It's called a subject access request, or SAR for short, and it's kind of like a superpower. It forces transparency. It is your legal right to see every email, every case note, every piece of personal data an organization has about you. It's your right to see what they're writing about you. And, the process itself isn't some crazy, complicated legal thing. You just identify the organization, write up a formal request, say what you're looking for, and send it off. And they are legally required to get back to you within a month. This is exactly what Joseph did. Sent SARs to the police, the council, and the housing association, asking for everything. And what Joseph found was damning. A SAR can unlock the whole hidden story. The internal emails, the private meeting notes, all the evidence of biased decision-making. For Joseph, these requests revealed the true extent of the collusion that was used to build the case that cost them their home. But we have to remember, this fight wasn't just happening on paper in legal documents and emails. The personal, real-world consequences for Joseph, they were absolutely catastrophic. The incredible stress of the legal battle, of the eviction, of being homeless, it had a direct and severe impact on Joseph's physical health, leading to truly life-altering conditions. This is the human cost when a system completely fails in its duty of care. And this wasn't just one bad thing. It was a horrifying domino effect. The system's first failure just pushed Joseph into this spiral of vulnerability, homelessness, becoming a victim of more crime, suffering severe health crises, one thing leading directly to the next. So how do you even begin to put a price on all of that? Well, the potential civil claim is valued at over £1 million. But that number, it's not just about money. It's an attempt to quantify the sheer scale of the damage, the loss of a home, of health, of safety, and of dignity.
But Joseph's story didn't just end with the eviction or even with finding all this evidence. The real battle for accountability, well, that's a marathon, not a sprint. And what's really frightening is that what Joseph went through wasn't just a one-off problem. The pattern of institutional failures started repeating itself across different parts of the country, involving other police forces, other councils, even the NHS. It points to a much bigger systemic issue. And this table, it just lays it all out, clear as day. This wasn't one rogue person or a single mistake. This was a multi-agency failure that created what Joseph's own legal summary calls a multi-million-pound life-ruining conspiracy. Just let that phrase sink in.
And that right there, that's the absolute heart of this whole thing. The central, heartbreaking tragedy of this story. A veteran who served their country was systematically failed and harmed by the very systems they trusted. That's the takeaway that really matters. So, yeah, the struggle for justice is far from over. But the big difference now, Joseph is fighting back, armed with a mountain of evidence that they painstakingly uncovered themselves.
And that leaves us with this final, massive question. When the system that's supposed to protect you is the one causing the harm, what does true justice even look like? Is it just financial compensation? Is it sweeping institutional reform? Is it a public apology? What does it really mean to make things right? We'll leave you with that to think about.